Hey everyone, BDM of Couch Potato Theater, responding to Mayor Mike White's troll tag game on the Triangle channel. Mayor Mike White's trying to get that channel started back up again, and I wish him and the boys all the best of luck. He gave me 5 questions to answer, and I'd like to do the best I can with them. Let's see. Well, let's get started. Oh, and if you're not subscribed or a friend of the Triangle channel, please stop by. They're wonderful. Some of the most hilarious videos on the net. So don't forget the Triangle channel. I'll put the information down below. See, question number 1. What are your thoughts on cyberbullying? Is there anyone who should be allowed to get away with it? Would you stand up for someone who is bullied? Well, I can answer that pretty easily. Yes, I have stood up for people who were being bullied, and a lot of times that paints you as a bully. Let's see, should anyone be allowed to get away with it? You don't get away with it. When you stand up for somebody who's being bullied or cyberbullied or trolled, invariably they're friends with other people. It's a network, of social structure, and you end up alienating and hurting a lot of people's feelings when people go into the drama of YouTube. So there's no clear-cut winner or loser. Everybody's a loser whenever trolling or cyberbullying is involved. It's not an easy decision to go after somebody or help somebody with cyberbullying. I know people think that a lot of people do it for kicks and for fun. It's actually a very painful experience, and it's very emotional. It's hard to deal with, and there are no winners or losers when it comes to cyberbullying or trolling. Everybody's a loser, especially the victim that it starts with. So you need to give that a thought before you enter into that kind of behavior, because people who have emotionally learned to deal with it and separate themselves from it are much, much, much more likely to tear somebody a new ass over it, knowing that, basically they'll get away with it. They'll just have to deal with the emotional baggage that follows. So you should think about that before you agitate somebody who seems to have a disposition for trolling and cyberbullying. Question number 2. Is it okay to post private emails people send you online to cause drama and trouble for others? Does this make someone a troll? Yes. Violating somebody's privacy by taking a private message on Facebook, Twitter, I'm talking private messages, or private emails, and then posting them publicly. This is an email or a message between 2 individuals, then posting them publicly to smear a person's reputation and to basically backstab that person. That makes you a two-faced prick, or a bitch. And in this case, I'd say it makes you a two-faced little bitch, because I've seen some people do that recently, like over the weekend and stuff, where they post people's private, personal conversations to, sway people's opinions. What they did was they lure the person into sending them personal information, and then they turn around and send it right, post it right on YouTube, in comment sections, Facebook, things like that. That makes you pretty much a low-life snake. You ought to like be, ashamed of yourself, but a lot of people do that. So yeah, that's pretty much how that makes you a troll. That makes you a low-life troll. Like you don't even live under a bridge. That, you like live in a, like a culvert. It's not even a bridge. I mean, the bridges at least have a drum there with a fire. A culvert, you don't even have a fire. You just live in like, the feces that comes out the end of the pipe. That's what kind of troll you are. So yeah. Do you know someone or even multiple people who open and close their YouTube channels more than most people change their underwear? And he was saying like 7. Well, I change my underwear at least once a day. I really do, if you need to know that. And I know a woman and a guy in particular that for a fact, I think she opened and closed 3 channels in one day. And the guy does 2 channels a day, about 3 or 4 times a month. So I would say yes, I actually do know 2 people that open and close channels so much that their fans and friends and associates can't keep up with them. They lose track of them and they get tired of chasing them all over YouTube and the internet. So they like lose interest in talking to them, and then they turn around and start trolling that person, you know, which makes them a two-faced, low-life troll in their own right. You know, and these people close and open their channels because they're constantly getting into drama with people. You know, one day they're friends with somebody. Honestly, they're total friends, and then the next day they're enemies, and they're putting like 2 or 3 videos out about the person, picking on me, and then the very next day, they're friends again. Forget it. Everybody back off. Quit with the drama. Quit putting videos out. Quit unfriending them. Quit blocking them. We're all friends again, and it makes you look like a complete idiot for getting involved in their BS. So yes, I do know 2 people in particular. One's a guy and one's a woman, and they're just complete pieces of shit. They're like two-faced pieces of shit. Yeah, that's what I would say about people who open and close channels constantly, then expect people to just run right over and subscribe to their new channel of the day. Not new channel of the week, not new channel of the month, not new channel of the year, their new channel of the day. So, yeah. Most of them carry, whenever they start a new channel, they always have 2, by the way, 2 or 3 going at the same time. So when they close them, they're actually closing 3 channels all at once and then starting the whole psychosis back over again because they're mental patients. They're nut job mental patients. That's what I like to call them. So yeah, I hope that answers that. I do know people who open and close their channels, multiple channels, more than most people change their underwear in a day. Yes. If someone badmouthed or insulted your wife and then your dog, would you block them without even discussing it with the person? Yes, that's pretty much why I block people. You know, when they get fat mouth with me or make really ignorant comments about my family, my dog, my friends, they're pretty much done. I don't even waste my time with responses. I very rarely do things like this where I just, like let people know how big of a scumbag they are and that I hope that they just go shit themselves in a corner. 5, do you think people should turn the other cheek and forgive trolls or leave them in their own squalor to fester and die? Well, that's pretty much given. I think I've pretty much answered that already. Yeah, I think they should just be left in their own squalid shit to fester and die. 90% of trolls are people. If I may quote the great Biggie D Man here, he once said, most people come on YouTube with these false ideas of grandeur and popularity and success. Thinking they're going to become overnight internet sensations and millionaires. And when this doesn't work out for them, because they're lazy, they're stupid, you can't fix stupid, or they're just pathetic. They're very pathetic human beings to begin with. They don't get the success that they wanted overnight with little or no work whatsoever put into their videography or their content creation. They turn on people. It's not their fault because they're a complete idiot. It's somebody else's fault. It's always your fault or because this guy did this or that person did that or whatever. That's why they're not a success. They close their channels and then they want to say they close their channel. See, I can't close somebody's channel down. You have to hit the delete button on your channel. But when people do that, then they run around and they tell that person's friends, well, I closed my 3 or 4 new channels this week that I created. Today I created 3 channels and then I deleted them all already. And it's all because of this person. I did it. Well, that's a psychosis. That's a mental illness that they have treatments for that. They have therapy. You can go to therapists. You can go get pills. There's different ways to treat that kind of stuff, and you really need to get help because I didn't crawl inside your computer or your tiny little mind and tell you your finger to hit the delete button or tell you to post something publicly that would get somebody pissed off enough at you to block and delete you from their friends list. You did that in your own sick, twisted, mentally ill mind. Your twisted, almost subhuman brain that's damaged from, all kinds of abuses that you've done over, people dropping you on your head to, drugs, like heavy drug use, and eating too much spam, things like that. These things have caused you to lose reality, and you're not mentally retarded, because that's an insult to mentally retarded people who really deserve a break in this world. No, you're an idiot. And there isn't actually, idiot is actually a level of intelligence, I think around 70 IQ. You're like an idiot. And you've done this to yourself through like not paying attention in class, or basically because you're a befuddled fool. You're a very confused person. And you need to understand that people have turned the other cheek with you and helped you and offered you advice and asked you not to do those things that are agitating them multiple times. And then you just keep it up and keep it up. Well, that's what gets you in trouble. See, that's what gets you blocked and deleted from people, because they don't want to hear it from you. So in that case, you've already had these people with a little bit more intelligence than you, a little bit more on the ball than you. They've turned the other cheek several times for you. Not just here, but I've turned around and showed you my ass a couple times too. It doesn't matter. You're still going to be an idiot. You're still like subpar, lower than a snake's belly, basically rat feces, and you can't get it out of your head, out of your ass long enough to breathe the fresh air of the sun around you, and you can't figure out why you suck and other people are successful. So no, I'm not gonna lower myself to letting people know what I really think of them. No, I don't think there's much point in it. And I've noticed that a lot of people, they go from the legitimate vlogs to trolling vlogs, crying about people mistreating them or not liking them or blocking them, and they sit there and they go, he's a butthole, he's an asshole, I hate his guts, he's so beautiful, I can't stand it, I look at him every day, I watch all his videos. Most trolls are my biggest fans, I've noticed. They see all this, and then there's something horrible happens. There's these drama queens and these rejects from YouTube that swarm down like little bees and comment on their videos. These total scuzzbags, and like little bees. Petty little noisy little insects, and they comment on their videos, make little idle threats and things. They pump your pants full of shit. And you get 100, 200, 300, maybe even 1,000 views on that video, because you started a bunch of drama. You got all the salivary glands, and these other trolls and rejects, they start to slobber at the mouth looking for a free meal, free lunch. And you see how many views you get. And usually, that's the demarcation. That's where you quit being a vlogger. You quit being a legitimate YouTube community player, and you've become nothing but a petty, pathetic cyber troll and bully. It's no longer about making friends or content or being a content creator. It's about you felt the power and the taste of blood in your mouth from getting off on running somebody else into the ground, and then you're gonna go for it. And that's the path you're going to take. And that's the kind of people I've been dealing with from the beginning. And it gets easier and easier to deal with.